This week, I'm driving a car that I'm actually taller than, which is a rare thing indeed. But that makes this little hatchback one of your best friends when it comes to urban dwelling. This is the updated Hyundai i30 N-Line, which sees a new mild hybrid powertrain as well as extra features to boot. And that makes this a really strong contender against its rivals, the Toyota Corolla, Mazda 3 and Kia Cerato hatches. In this video, we're going to see how it handles urban life, so stay watching. There are two variants for the i30, and we're testing the highly specified base model variant, the N-Line. Its price point positions it at the top of the market compared to its other base model rivals, but it more than makes up for it with its features list because the new i30 N-Line does not feel like a base model at all. The update sees the upholstery upgraded to a lovely leather and suede mix. The driver's side gets extendable under thigh supports as well as powered lumbar support. There are two new USB-C ports in the rear, and a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster now comes standard in this model. The i30 also sports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, dusk sensing LED headlights, rain sensing wipers, and keyless start and entry. Anyone familiar with base models might know that a lot of those features are not often standard, so it's great that you don't have to go up a grade level or two to get them here. But if you want more info, check out my written review at carsguide.com.au. The i30 N-Line has a newly designed front grille that has air intake vents and stylish V-shaped daytime running lights. The design memo seems to have been to make the i30 look sportier and more purposeful with a new rear bumper, twin exhausts, and cool 18-inch alloys, and they've totally nailed it because this hatch is really good looking and looks like it has European styling. The cabin has had a good look in as well. The dashboard now features new materials and extra soft touch points. There's a black headliner, that upgraded upholstery with contrasting red stitching, and you also get an N-Line steering wheel and leather wrapped gear shifter. Overall, this cabin really does not feel like it's a base model. It's very nice. Like most hatches, the front row benefits the most when it comes to leg and headroom. Access to this row is really good because of the wide door apertures, but the low ground clearance of 140 millimeters means that it is a low car to get in and out of. The bucket style seating looks great, and it's really nice seeing those extra features on the driver's side, but I did find I still got aches on a long trip still. Comfort is high on shorter journeys though. The individual storage in this car is excellent in both rows. Up front, you get decently sized glove box and a middle console, but you also get really big storage bins in each door and a sunglasses holder, which means that when you have all your stuff, it actually feels quite neat and tidy in here. The 8-inch touchscreen multimedia system is super basic. It doesn't have sat-nav and the radio is a bit of a hit or miss, but the wireless phone mirroring app is fantastic and my iPhone maintained a very strong connection this week. Charging options are really good up front. You get two 12-volt sockets, a single USB-A and C port, and a wireless charging pad to choose from. The i30 doesn't offer all that much in terms of legroom in the back row. This isn't my usual driving position. I've had to move this front seat forward just a little bit to fit back here. I'm only 168 centimeters tall, so if you're taller than that, this might be an issue if you regularly have rear passengers. But the seat themselves, really well padded, pretty comfortable. The lack of space is redeemed by the amenities and storage because you get directional air vents, two USB-C ports, two cup holders, two drink bottle holders, and two mat pockets. In terms of a base model, it's pretty darn luxy, and my 7-year-old really enjoyed it back here. If you have a kid or two, this row does have ISOFIX child seat mounts on the outboard seats plus 3 top tethers. 2 seats are going to fit best though. Other than the Kia Cerato, the i30 has one of the biggest boot spaces available compared to its rivals at 395 litres. That means that it's really decently sized for a good road trip or a big grocery haul. You don't get a spare tyre in this model, just a tyre mobility kit, and you don't get a power tailgate either, but the lid isn't heavy to operate at all. Our test vehicle has a new mild hybrid powertrain that features a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine and combines to produce 117 kilowatts of power and 253 newton meters of torque. This new combo means that it does produce higher outputs than its nearest rivals, and you get 3 drive modes, including Sport, which makes those outputs feel even more prevalent. This is a front-wheel drive like its rivals, but it features a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. I'm super impressed with the new i30's powertrain because it almost feels like a hot hatch when you hit the open road, because it's really punchy and it's really effortless to keep your speed up or overtake. Steering is a lot firmer than what you might think, and that makes the car feel heavier, but it also means that cornering's quite fun because there's not a lot of roll in this. That being said, the suspension doesn't feel really finely tuned for regional driving. You do get quite a bit of bumps and whatnot because it feels like it's got sportier suspension, but that's forgivable. At lower speeds, the cabin is delightfully quiet, and even though the twin exhausts are thrumming, you don't actually hear it inside the cabin. It's only once you get up to higher speeds that the road noise really creeps up. You can still hold a conversation without raising your voice though. The i30 is pretty low to the ground, so approach ramps and bumps at a different angle than what you might usually, because it's pretty easy to scrape the bottom of it. One of the reasons why I really love hatchbacks is that they are so easy to park. You really are finding a new best friend when it comes to car parks when you have a hatch. And it helps that the base model still has front and rear parking sensors and a pretty clear reversing camera too. The official combined fuel cycle figure is 5.6 litres per 100 kilometres, and my real world usage came out at 6.3 litres. That's after a mix of open and urban road driving this week. The new engine combo means that you tend to coast in neutral when you're not accelerating. This is meant to improve efficiency, and I do think it works in this case. The only thing I'll note is with the new engine combo, how you do coast in neutral when you're not accelerating. It can mean that when you're in stop-start traffic, the gear changing can feel a little bit confused at times, but it's mostly good. Based on the official combined fuel cycle figure and the 50-litre fuel tank, you should see a theoretical driving range of up to 893 kilometres, which is downright respectable for a little hatch. The i30 has a maximum 5-star NCAP safety rating from testing done in 2017 and has 7 airbags, but like its rivals, it doesn't yet have a front center airbag. It does have an impressive list of safety features though, and includes items which are usually at cost extras for a base model, like blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. The lane keeping aid and traffic sign recognition tech are a little bit intrusive for daily driving, but easy enough to adjust if need be. The full safety specs are in my detailed written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more info. Hyundai offers the i30 with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is a normal term for the class. You can pre-purchase 3, 4 or 5 years worth of servicing, and the 5-year option costs $1,795, which is very competitive. Servicing intervals are okay at every 12 months or 10,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The updated Hyundai i30 N-Line doesn't look like or perform like a base model, and you really get bang for your buck when it comes to features. It's a good-looking hatch that drives well on the open road and the city, and while the multimedia system is a bit basic and rear row occupants are going to get a bit squished, everything else is a big plus, so it gets an 8.6 out of 10 from me. If you're after more details though, check out my full review at carsguide.com.au, and I'll see you next week.